defensive-minded big man that I think would be a good haul, and you'd probably like him as much or more than Chris Dunn in that scenario. The kind of trump card is Markkanen. Like, I think Markkanen can be really good. I think he can be, I don't know, is he an all-star? I don't know, but he has some really, just a great way about him, and he would fit next to Cat really well in a modern front court. And so that's tough to say that I would pass on Markkanen, but I do think with Richardson and Adebayo, and I don't have any indication that that's actually going to happen, but if that were to be the return and some kind of a first-round pick, you'd feel really good about that. You would feel like, okay, in this very difficult scenario that the Wolves are in, if they came out of that with that kind of a grouping, that I think you'd give high fives and say, good job, well executed.
Interesting question from Nathan Dalsing, another longtime listener. Who have you had more interaction with, Shams or Woj? Are they enjoyable to work with?
You
work with Shams.
Yeah, Shams joined The Athletic this summer, and prior to that, I had not known him very well at all, just in chasing the news that he broke on our beat. But since I've gotten to know him, he's been great to work with. Like, we have been kind of in lockstep through this whole process and tag teaming it, and he's got a wealth of sources, and I think I have a wealth, and we've come together and combined, and it's done really, really well, and I've been really pleased with how that's gone so far, and he's been great. He's a young, hungry go-getter, and he's going to be a star. He already is a star. He's going to be a star in this business for a long time. Woj has been incredible to me over the years. We compete. He's just the best in this business, and when you're in the ring with him, you're terrified and exhausted, kind of trying to keep up and keep your head above water and get your wins where you can. But also, whenever I see him in person, it's great interaction. He's very helpful and supportive. He and I talked before I made the move to The Athletic, and he was very helpful in kind of helping me work through the process. I think a lot of writers will say that he's very open and honest and helpful in those regards with career advice and suggestions and things like that. So I couldn't have any more respect for him than I do. So we're lucky that a couple of the really big, prominent stars in the NBA beats are really good people to work with as well.
Yeah, I've met Shams. I always liked Woj. We always had really good interactions. I'm not competing with him on news, so it's a different kind of dynamic, but he's just always been a nice guy when I've been around him. From Jerome Jordan, here's an interesting one. Why is this Butler story coming off as if Tibbs is trying to con a deal? I think that's a David Kahn reference. The Kawhi thing was far more bizarre. I never seen so many Sham or Woj reports talking as if the Spurs were inept and whatnot. It's just frustrating how the Wolves are portrayed in the media. Do you think that's fair?
I don't think it's fair. Sometimes, the Wolves have taken their lumps with a few things there. And, is everything entirely fair with it? Probably not. There's been a few things that have been maybe misreported or misinterpreted along the way. But the Spurs did take some lumps last year with how they handled Kawhi. They absolutely did. But also what they also did is understood that, number one, the Kawhi situation was not sort of dragging the entire franchise down the same way that the Jimmy Butler situation has been here. So they did kind of wait it out last year, and Kawhi had the injury things as well. But then when they had to make a move, they did it at the right time so they could get a good return for him. They did it this summer. And so they understood that Kawhi wasn't coming back, that no matter what they tried, that they had lost on it, and they had to make the best of a tough situation. And then they got DeRozan and Podol in their deal, and that's a good return. You got an all-star player and a good, promising big man for Kawhi, and I think for Danny Green as well, who was probably on his way out. So they understood the gravity of their situation, and they acted on it. Like, the Wolves are in this corner and in this mess because they didn't act and they didn't recognize what was happening and what would be best for the long-term situation here. And so you can say that, well, yeah, we thought we could talk Jimmy Butler out of it. You didn't. Like, none of that worked. The Spurs thought for a long time they could talk Kawhi out of it, and they didn't. And so then they made the best of it. So, like, I mean, I just don't see the apples to apples there. I mean, the two organizations have handled this in entirely different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. From Ryan Sorensen, who do you see filling the void for whatever player-level leadership Butler provided on this team? Is it time for Cat to step up or more veteran guys?
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. I mean, Jimmy, as a veteran kind of ass-kicker type of a guy, and inspired a lot of people in that locker room. Maybe he didn't get along with everyone, but there are plenty of people in there that really responded to him and the way that he went about his business. And so it is going to be up to, even if it is Josh Richardson, even if it is Tobias Harris or Eric Gordon or whoever, the faces of this franchise right now are Cat and Wiggins. And Wig is very quiet, and so Carl is going to have to be the voice. And that's a tough position for a young player to be in. And he's going to have to find the right notes to hit there to get people to want to follow him in a similar fashion. And so it's a tricky path to navigate that way. And he's probably not going to do everything perfectly that way right away, but as the dust clears and the rubble settles from whatever happens, this is Cat's team now. And so how he lifts them up and how he gets them to follow him and how he plays on the floor as well, that's going to set a lot of the tone and determine how, if they take a huge step back or if they're able to weather this and move forward.
We've got a lot of Twitter questions. We're not going to get to all of them in this show. Do want to thank sodastick.com, TSR Injury Law 612, TSR Time, Bite Squad. Use the promo code TALKNORTH for your first delivery free, TALKNORTH, all one word. Tell us about your athletic deal one more time.
Yep, one more time. theathletic.com/JonPod, all lowercase, JONPOD, for 40% off your first year at The Athletic. That's only $2.99 a month for all of our local and national coverage, nationally and internationally. And
again, reach out to me, jsouhan47@gmail.com if you'd like to sponsor this or any of the programs across the network. Good question to end on, Josh Bondy. Where in T-Wolves lore does this drama rank next to the Love trade, the Garnett trade, the J.R. Ryder drama, and all the other dramas?
Yeah, I mean, this is an organization steeped in misfortune and in bad luck and mistakes and circus-like atmospheres. I mean, I think it's right absolutely near the top. I mean, you have, the Stephon Marbury exodus. You had J.R. Ryder. You had just so many things over the years. Kevin Love, everything David Kahn did. Like, you have all of those things, but when you really boil it down to, this was a team that was considered up and coming, close to becoming a contender in the Western Conference, that has a coach who brings in his prized pupil to lead the renaissance, and then that pupil ends up stabbing him in the back and really kind of thrusting the whole thing into chaos again. I mean, I don't want to be recency biased, but if it's not number one, it's number two. And I'm sure we can talk to our friends at the organization to see if there's something that ranks a little higher, and there probably is. I'll have to talk to Hanny and Mune and those guys, but this is right near the top for me for sure.